Junior and
It is.
and someone's like, no, it isn't. It's da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, well, actually, you're wrong, because initially werewolves are creatures that lived in the woods of Arcadia and separated the veil.
I've had I mean, with vampires, there's so much that it's kind of easy to pick and choose. But I've discovered that you know, I've chosen some traits that aren't particularly popular in movies and things like that. Like if you go back to the original Dracula, he walks around in the daylight. They specify that he was very weak in the daylight, but he could still go out in the daytime and not burn to a crisp. And so you know, because my vampires have to travel so much, I kind of adopted that, you know, as well. It's like, okay, daylight really, it will kill them eventually, but not right away. And so I had to be very upfront with that in the book and explain that right away, so that people aren't calling me out on, why is your vampire out in the daytime? So it's just you know, interesting that way with all the contradictory folklore and everything else. That something I've discovered anyway.
Yeah, that is a problem with folklore, is that it can be extremely contradictory. So. Any other questions? Comments?
Research lead to your story, or does your story lead to the research, or is it kind of like intertwined?
I think for some of us it's both.
I'd say it's more intertwined, because you want, well, you kind of have in mind what you want, but then you start doing the research and then it adds to your story.
I think it does sort of also, as much as we hate the stereotypes, as much as I hate the stereotype, I think it refers back to if you're a plotter or a pantser, too. If you're a plotter, then it really does influence it. If you're a pantser, then it's like, oh, this is going to fit here, kind of thing. Anybody else? Yes.
I guess going back to, like you were talking about with, I don't know, stuff like the Patriots or Dances with Wolves, where they may have put a large amount of research, but they miss something small that trips it all up. Like Dances with Wolves, they're speaking the wrong dialect of Lakota.
Yeah.
How do you avoid little things like that?
Well, for one thing, I don't have them speaking Lakota. But I do write some Indian myth in some of my new series, but I use modern Cherokee, and then use their myths that Cherokee Indians particularly have. So I do research on what their myths are, and not what I want them to be. So therefore, you know, because they do have specific things.
And there's no way to completely, you know, do that. Some little detail is gonna get.
It's good.
It's
yeah.
gonna get missed, and I only hope that someday I'm well enough to know for someone to call me out on it. You know, it's just you do what you can, and then that gets back to, you know, what we're saying. It's like you can only do so much before you have to just let it go and write the story.
The fact of the matter is, you can't. But you want it to be small things as opposed to big things. Like
an Avatar, where they put unobtainium. It just threw me. It took me. I was really enjoying the show until he opened his mouth and said unobtainium. And I'm like, what?
it's like
if it's unobtainium, it can't be obtained. Period. You know?
It's sort of, it's like, and it depends, but then of course it also depends on what you consider small or large. For example, X-Men Days of Future Past, and I will scream about this, one, because I hate the movie so much, but as a huge X-Men fan.
Yeah.
So, two, the signing accord that they are building the story around is signed in January 1972. This is important because I want to know, A, why RFK Stadium exists, and two, Why are they painting it for baseball in January? I already didn't like this movie, but instantly I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Why are they painting for a baseball team that doesn't exist and a stadium that hasn't been built in January? That may be something small for somebody else. This drove me insane. So, it's going to be a perspective. So hate is going to hate is basically the phrase I'd use. But you want it to be small and it not be glaring huge issues. Like, I don't know. It's okay if the shoes are blue when naturally they would wear red. That's a small detail. If it's 7 years after the fact and it should be here, that might be, I guess, don't be offensive. Try to not be offensive with your glaring errors. Unless,
And hopefully your editor or proofreader or your beta readers will pick up on that and will point it out to you. Although I have had books, I have had where I've written for Berkeley and it's gone through 3 edits that I do, and then my agent looks at it, and then 3 of their editors look at it, and it still comes out with mistakes. So, you know.
The realities of the human element.
It's true.
I just tell people that my stuff is handmade, so there's going to be errors. But I can do that because I'm indie, so.
Even if not any, it's still handmade.
It's digitally typed, but it's handmade, so there are going to be problems. That's handiwork. Okay, so it is 2:50 or 2:49, or we're going to call it 2:50. Where is everyone going to be for the rest of the weekend? Where can people catch y'all?
I'm going to be down in the Author's Alley.
I have a book signing today at 5 at Theater's Room, so I'll have both books available if you want to get a signed copy. And I'm going to be also down in the Author's Alley a little bit today as well.
I have another panel today and then 2 tomorrow, and you can find me on Facebook, my webpage.
Okay. I will be doing a reading at 5 from both of these and probably talking more. And then I will also be doing Constructing Urban Fantasy tomorrow at 11 and our Indie Toolbox at 2. And if you want these beautiful, beautiful things, I've got a husband running around with a suitcase full of them. And the more you guys buy, the less he has to carry, and it'll love you. But if you come to my reading, I will give them to you, and I'll even sign them. Anybody got anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I believe the zombie brand thing, that's one of those unfortunate events of history where the zombies, it was a diet fad for them for a short period of time, and our bad historical research has just, blown it out of proportion.
It has.
It is. Fresh meat, delicious fresh meat. Anything else? Do I get to
That
dance
was
now?
very funny, I hope.
I do. I actually like that. It's mine now.